Audit and Risk Management Committee to order. Courtney, can you please call the roll?
Mr. Henning for Treasurer Ma. Dr. White.
Here.
And Acting Chair Cervantes.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The minutes from the last meeting on September 18th are in the package. Unless there are any comments on the minutes, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. So I'll second that. With that, our protocol is to approve minutes if there's a motion made and seconded. So thank you very much. With that, I'd like to welcome everyone. I'm looking forward to the presentation we're going to have very shortly. I'd also like to note that I'm sort of acting chair at this point as Director Sotelo is no longer on the board. And we'll make arrangements to repopulate the committee at some future date, hopefully sooner than later. So with that, I'd like to invite, this is agenda item 4, Ashish Kumar, our Chief Information Officer, to speak, and welcome you to the podium here, and we're looking forward to your presentation.
Test. Good morning, Chair Cervantes, members of the Audit and Risk Management Committee and Director Sajid, colleagues and members of the public. My name is Ashish Kumar and I'm the Chief Information Officer for CalHFA, and I appreciate the opportunity to present the annual Information Security Update. Today's presentation reflects CalHFA's progress and posture through December 2025 and is intended to provide a clear perspective on our performance, risk position, and strategic plans moving forward. Before proceeding, I wish to acknowledge the committee's agenda and our position within it this morning, and I will keep this update focused, concise, emphasizing key outcomes and matters of greatest importance to the agency and this committee. Next slide, please. In today's presentation, I will address the following areas: information security management goals at CalHFA, key points serving as the executive summary, highlights of business execution, material risks, external factors which influence our security posture, our security strategy, cybersecurity maturity, and action plan extending beyond 2026. Each section will be framed in terms of its significance to CalHFA operations, compliance obligations, and organizational resilience. Next slide, please. CalHFA's information security management framework is dedicated to safeguarding the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of our information assets. Our approach is designed to minimize fear, uncertainty, and doubt while remaining firmly aligned with business objectives, protecting the agency without impeding daily operations. This process actively engages stakeholders across the organization, ensuring that our controls are practical, effective, and focused on measurable outcomes. Next slide, please. The key points presented here serve as the executive summary. If there is one slide that summarizes this entire presentation, it is this one. First, our business execution reflects several notable achievements supplemented by targeted remedial efforts that continue to advance our security maturity. Second, we experienced no information security incident on CalHFA systems during 2025, and our material risk profile remains stable. Third, we are implementing moderate tactical responses to address external developments impacting our security posture. And finally, our security strategy remains on target, and our processes continues to exceed peer benchmarks. And our recommendation, this committee is invited to acknowledge the current state and endorse the proposed action plan as presented. Next slide, please. Under business execution and under the data protection domain, we successfully onboarded a 24/7 security information and events management SIM system and a security operations center, which is SOC, that significantly ensures our detection and response capabilities are in place. In addition, we continue to advance our data encryption, network segmentation, and continue to build security trainings and increase our cloud and on-premise data labeling initiatives. Under the regulatory compliance domain, our mandatory updates required by the state guidelines have been completed, and remediation efforts are ongoing in collaboration with state agencies and external partners. Under the customer trust domain, we have actively engaged stakeholders to safeguard sensitive data systems and works throughout enforcing trust and credibility in our operations. And under the technology recovery and disaster recovery domain, our technology recovery plan has been updated and the annual recovery exercise successfully executed. Work is progressing on maturing our newly established disaster recovery location at Las Vegas, Nevada, furthering and strengthening our business continuity. And finally, under the operational efficiency domain, we have conducted 19 phishing campaigns, delivered 18 information security modules, and developed new procedures, policies, and templates to meet the requirements of the Office of Information Security. Sure.
Could I ask a question? So when you say 19 phishing campaigns, please explain. What do you mean by that?
All right.
They make an ice hole and they throw a pole in.
I was waiting for someone to do. I'm your straight man, I think.
I know, I'm good with it.
Yes, a phishing campaign is an email designed to be sent to an employee that acts like an attacker trying to send a malicious intent of you on basically baiting on it, right? So it will tell you that you have millions of dollars somewhere, or if you have a free a sandwich, and if you click on that, it allows you to kind of educates the employees into not clicking on those activities, because once you click on that, it opens the door for vulnerability.
So if someone bites on that lure, then you reach out to that person and give them some additional training on security?
Correct, correct, yeah. So if we have repeat offenders, we have a process around it on on re-educating them and ensuring that they are following the
We'll
protocols.
haul them in front of the board meeting here and shame them or something?
We try not to do that.
And you've sent this to all employees, correct?
Yes, and there are also pockets of employees, so based on your roles, you may get a subset of those phishing exercises, but yeah, everybody gets it
Okay, good.
at different intervals.
Including the board, I would think, right? Why not?
The board, based on email addresses and along with that, I may have to do my research and get back to you on that, but my understanding is that if a board member has a CalHFA email address, that would be part of the campaign as well.
Yeah, although, Chair, I don't think that that's the worst idea, just to up awareness, particularly since if our director got an email from the chair of the board and saying, move $1 million here or there, I'm sure he would do that right away to pay your part-time.
Yeah,
But, you know.
I'm sure he would. Right?
Yeah, I think,
But at the same time, I do think there is some value in.
Yeah.
yeah, I think we need to, I think part of it is what access do the board members have to the,
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
You guys-
board members are
things like
limited
that.
to emails,
Yeah.
and they're for the network access.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, no worries. Thank you for the question. Yes, the bottom line is these initiatives collectively protect our data, ensure regulatory compliance, ensure continuity, and then reduce our enterprise risk, and while maintaining the operational productivity. So next slide, please.
And we'll take a pause here for 1 second. I do want to note that Director Henning has arrived at the meeting, and make sure he's logged in.
And then along those lines, Mr. Chair, I believe that we have a quorum, correct?
We do.
So do we want to take a quick vote on the
No, we
meeting's last
had a
minutes?
quorum earlier.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
We're good. Want to make sure that we're all good and
Yeah.
moving forward.
we're keeping on the straight and narrow here.
Thank you.
All right. Continuing on the material risk, CalHFA experienced, as I mentioned, no information security incident in 2025. Our material risk framework focuses on threats that could significantly impact our financial health, operational continuity, and our reputation. Risks are prioritized based on the impact and likelihood, and mitigated through the combination of technical, administrative, and physical controls. We maintain a comprehensive response playbooks for breach prevention and incident handling, supported by external partners and specialized retainers to ensure rapid access to expertise is there when needed. Our objective is clear: reduce the probability of a material event from happening and to minimize its consequences should one occur. Next slide, please. Outlined here are 3 key external events and technical responses implemented by CalHFA. The first one, ransomware and phishing. We continue to test and refine our technology recovery plan and cyber incident response plans. Rigorous backup and patch management practices are maintained, and phishing campaigns have been refreshed alongside role-based training to address evolving threat patterns, some of the stuff that we just talked about. In the artificial intelligence space, CalHFA has rolled out Copilot Chat and conducted a proof of concept for M365 Copilot in alignment to our acceptable use policy, which was introduced to the agency in September of 2024, which permits reasonable use of AI tools internally. Under the information security audit and official information security engagements, the check-in audit was successfully completed in December of 2025. We anticipate early validations of remaining findings and have scheduled workshops with Office of Information Security Advisory Team. Next slide, please. Our security strategy integrates advanced technology initiatives, comprehensive vulnerability assessments, and continuous policy and process enhancements to safeguard CalHFA information assets. And all initiatives within this strategy is progressing as planned, with no delays reported. Furthermore, these initiatives have been fully aligned to the budget, and all required fundings have been secured for these initiatives. The outcome is a program that not only mitigates risks, but also enables and supports the CalHFA's business objectives. Next slide, please.
Before you move on,
Sure.
it mentions that you were still looking for a contract on security oversight. If you can bring up the last slide. One right before that. Under cybersecurity measures, it says security information event management solution.
Yeah, we already have a vendor partner for the SIM in there. We're just trying to mature that. So once we have the product in place, it's going through a process. It's different phases. It's just moving along.
So how much longer is until that gets done?
It's projected to be done by March of 2026. That's what the projection
Okay,
is.
so another couple months.
Correct.
And then has the department taken use of the military department's security feature where they go through and do all the testing with you?
Yes.
Sort of a third-party validation.
Correct. Thank you. The information security audit is conducted by California Military Division, and it's every other year. We conducted that in December of 24, so the next one would be due in December of 26.
And nothing major popped up?
Nothing. In fact, this was our first time that California Military Division did it for us. The prior to, we had a third-party vendor do it for us, and they were quite impressed with our results.
The military department does, I think, a much better job than what I've been able to see from the outside, so it's good. Thank you.
Sure. No worries. Thank you. So moving along on the cybersecurity maturity, CalHFA's cybersecurity maturity continues to advance and continues to exceed peer benchmarks. And in 2024, the state average was 5.02, while CalHFA achieved 6.36. Although the nationwide cybersecurity review, known as NCSR, was discontinued in 2025, our progress has remained strong. And under the under the Office of Information Security's Cybersecurity Maturity Program, which emphasizes policy, processes, and procedural resilience, the latest results of 2.65 ranks CalHFA as the highest in BCSH and 6th highest ranked entity among 106 state entities in this review cycle, reflecting an upward trend that demonstrates resilience and consistent improvement across governance, controls, engineering, awareness, and response. This achievement and formal recognition from state leadership, including state CIO Leanna Bailey Crimmins and State Chief Information Security Officer Vitaly Penich, and who personally commended our agency information officer Jason Pichorni for this outstanding performance.
If I could pause for 1 second.
Sure.
I mean, just to note that to someone who's not dialed in on this all the time, it sounds like a great result. If you could clarify for me when you talk about cybersecurity maturity, like there's a metric here. Can you explain, I mean, what that
Sure.
actually means?
Sure. Great question, Chair Cervantes. Yeah, cybersecurity, according to Office of Information Security, is a cycle. So it's a combination of the information security audit that Director Henning talked about, that California Military Division does, and then on a off cycle, meaning if it's a 4-year cycle, that in the 2-year time they do another audit, which is called Information Security Programs Audit. So it's a continuous effort on maintaining compliance and looking at a whole bunch of controls. One is more of a technical review where the California Military Division comes in, looks into your environment. The other one is more around policy and procedure management. So in combination, how entities do on those determines a score for you. That determines your maturity as to how you're maturing your environment and your. So the goal is upward trend, right? There's a remediation. They come through. They provide a whole bunch of findings. You create a remediation plan on that, and then you go through and start remediating onto those. And then if your scores are improving, that means you're maturing your entity on that.
So if you're at a 265, is that out of like an absolute? Out of 4?
Yes.
Okay. And if the statewide average is 159,
Correct.
we're like what, a standard deviation or 2 over that, that
4-year
average?
cycle.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, the state average is 1.
Sorry, can I add?
Sure.
Please.
So when you're looking at it, you don't wanna do like 2.5 out of 5 is at like a 50%. So when they're grading, it's a 5-point scale. So when you're looking at information security, usually like they would say like the Pentagon is a 5. And so when you're wanting to mitigate information security, it's a cost benefit analysis, right? We could like make our own language and only speak in that language, and we'd have ultimate, data security, but that's not reasonable nor effective nor cost effective to send everyone to language school. So we are looking at that. So I don't think when you're looking at maturities, I want to just clarify, it's not that 2.5 is a bad score. It's just looking at it from kind of a risk assessment, which is, a score 1 encompasses certain elements, a score 2 is elements. So it's like not a simple math ratio. Just kind of clarifying the ratings when we're talking about maturity scores.
So theoretically, we could get to a 3 or a 3.5, but it'd just be that extra encumbrance on operations to get there. It just may not.
Correct. So like, Director Kumar's team and whatnot, they do a really amazing job. At some point, we're going to make a decision that says we're willing to accept some level of risk into our system because the cost of putting in a new system or doing this is too high for the risk mitigation. Because if you look at it in a global context, our systems are safe, our employees are well trained and whatnot, and so that's why they call it a maturity score and not just kind of like a score itself.
Okay.
So that goes to a question I was going to have around the ratings. Do you recall the rating from last year? We improved, right?
Yes, it's on here. Yep, from 2.1 we went to 2.65.
Okay, so to Rebecca's point, because I was going to say, great job. Now you have room for improvement, but you don't necessarily, based on risk assessment, you don't necessarily think you should get to a 3 based on costs.
We could, I think also though, the dynamic nature of information security and the threats are always evolving and changing, and there's emerging threats. So I wouldn't necessarily look at just the score. It's not just about going from a 2 to 3. When, we really are excited about the, penetration testing the military department did. There was no errors, there was no findings. When we were doing the phishing campaigns with our staff, we're getting really good results. So, but that's continual, that's ever changing. I know a couple years ago, now the new threat is, I had gotten a text message late at night from a former executive director, and I was like, what's going on? And, it was from a area code in which I know a state that she's from. And I was, so it's stuff like that. It's ever dynamic and changing. So unfortunately, or for job security purposes, even though we're doing great now, it's a continual effort. And that growth is modifying our firewalls and our procedures and our defenses as that risk emerges and changes.
One more question to this. What's the total budget dollar amount?
We didn't share that information. We just shared the percentage on that, but
I
we
know.
can definitely get back to you on,
Yeah, that's
on
fine.
that.
And, yeah, one other thing I'd like to add to this discussion is, later today, we will go over our bond ratings, and this is similar to that, and that we want to find the right place for us to be able to have efficient operations with the right controls in place to make sure that we're not opening ourselves up to unnecessary risks. So there's a balance there in all of that.
Thank you.
That strikes me as a good analogy. And, I mean, I appreciate the expression that it's an evolving environment out there. The bad actors continue to up their game. And so we just need to be sensitive to that. It sounds like that's what staff is doing here.
Correct.
And really commending this team in the Information Security Office. They have a current workload, they're doing that, and then they remediated all but 2 findings of the audit, which was a heavy lift in and of itself. So just really commending that team, really, kind of rolled up their sleeves and got the work done in a really short amount of time. So we appreciate that effort.
Yeah, good. No question. Thank you.
Thank you. On that note, I'm proud of this milestone as a CIO and as a director of this, as the director of IT for CalHFA, and would like to acknowledge the dedication and effort of my team members who are present here today, in audience, and also back in the office, whose commitment made this success possible. Thank you to all of them, and they know who they are. Thank you. Next slide, please. Action Plan Beyond 2026. CalHFA's Information Security Program will continue to enhance business performance. We will execute targeted actions in the response to external developments at this time, and no adjustments are required to our material risk position. The security strategy remains on track and is advancing as scheduled. And we will provide the committee with the next comprehensive update in FY 26-27. Next slide, please. Chair Cervantes and members of the committee, thank you for your attention and continued support. CalHFA's Information Security Program remains steady, continues to improve, and is fully aligned to CalHFA's strategic plans. I'm pleased to address any questions that you may have and provide you any additional details. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Director Henning, any questions?
No.
Mr. White? Any other questions?
One question regarding our off-site disaster recovery location. Is that a building we own or we're leasing space, or what?
No, it's the rec space.
Okay.
It's a rec space in the cloud, but the facility is in Las Vegas. Yeah, we're moving away from Roseville going to Las Vegas.
That makes sense.
Yeah. We have site visits.
Instead of
No,
right
just
down the
kidding.
So, I guess without getting into like a specific area, are there areas that keep you up at night with respect to our security protocols? Are there things that you're, like, it goes back to the known knowns and the known unknowns. Are there other things out there that make you, that
Yeah.
worry you? I mean, without getting into specifics, because this is an open public meeting, but just topic areas maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I mean, depends on which technology executive you talk to. There's always going to be something that's going to keep you awake at night. When I look at CalHFA's infrastructure, we have very sound controls in place. We have layers of defenses. If we have two-factor authentications, there's a whole bunch of technical controls in place. The area that keeps me awake at night is the 0 days, the things that I don't know. Like zero-day attack is where a vulnerability gets pushed onto us that nobody knows any way of remediating that. Yes, we have technical controls in place. Our firewalls are there to stop it. But I just don't know when Russell's going to come to me and say that, hey, Ashish, there's a 0 day and our X number of systems are impacted by this. So those would be some of the things that I would be worried about.
And you called it 0 day?
0 day, yes.
Sounds
0 day means a vulnerability is a weakness in a system. Sometimes when Microsoft sends patches, the vulnerability is known. A 0 day is when the vulnerability is not known and the hacker just sends it our way. Yeah. That's something of concern for us, okay. or something that keeps me. But But again, kind of going back to layers of controls that we have in place, we have good partnerships out there that keeps monitoring those things. We have systems in place that allows us to do that. So yes, it's concerning, but we have controls in place for that.
That's
Thank you.
helpful. Thank you.
I'll say from my perspective, I mean, one of the other things that I think Ashish and his team have done really well is my big concern is always the human component, right? And,
Yep.
you know, all the phishing exercises and the training that are done are trying to minimize that risk and teaching people, you know, our staff that, you know, they control the security as much as anybody.
Yep.
And so that work is really important to me, and so I really appreciate that.
Very good.
That's a great point. Thank you so much. I appreciate that you and your team are on the job on this. I've listened in on these presentations before. I really greatly appreciate the effort that you all make to sort of maintain the integrity of our systems and protect us from all those who would do us harm on the cyber side. You've done really well, so thank you so much. Really appreciate the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I think with that, I want to see if there's any public comment. I should have done this a little earlier, so sorry, Ashish. Courtney, could you please see if there's anyone who has public comment on this, whether virtual or in person?
If any member of the public would like to make a comment, please raise your hand virtually or here in the room. There's none at this time.
Thank you very much. The item number 5, other committee matters. Are there any other matters the committee members would like to raise? We can address this at a future time, but topics for future agenda? Don't see any. And with that, I'd like to see if there's any public comment on matters within this committee's jurisdiction.
Sure. If any members of the public would like to make a comment, please raise your hand. None at this time.
Great. Well, with that, we've covered all our material. Thank you, committee members, for being here. Thank you, Ashish, for this solid presentation. It's very helpful. And with that, I will call the meeting adjourned.